Today we're looking at the new Science 3 program from Christian Light Education. It's a 5-LightUnit course focused on health. I've been working as a hospital RN for 12 years, and I wanted to see how this curriculum holds up to current standards and evaluate its accuracy. This curriculum covers body systems, nutrition, first aid, general health, common diseases, manners, and safety, including fire safety. This course has 80 lessons across 5-LightUnit workbooks, including quizzes and tests. There is no textbook. Everything is done directly in these workbooks. There are 16 lessons in each unit. Lessons 5 and 10 are quizzes on perforated pages in the back, while lesson 16 is a test stapled in the middle. You'll want to remove these assessments before giving the workbook to your child. Both student and test answer keys are available, but note that the full teacher guide is still in production. CLE often releases the core course first to get it to us faster. The guides do add depth, but the program is completely usable with just the answer keys. I'll be doing a full flip through of this program. This is Light Unit 301. The topics are respect for God's creation, many parts working together, and your skeletal system. Section 1, designed by God. Section 2 is learning about manners and respect, mealtime manners, and then there is a workbook activity. You'll see each reading section is fairly short, and then there's a short workbook activity. Good manners with friends, good playtime manners, and the We Remember review of the previous lessons. Taking care of God's gifts, caring for the property of others, and then the short workbook page. Section 2 is on the senses. They go over sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. There's full color photos, and the workbook activities are fairly short. Lesson 7 starts to get into body systems and biology. Children are learning about cells, organs, system, and tissue. Cells to systems, systems in your body. I find that all the systems are pretty accurately named, except the pulmonary system they call breathing system, and they also leave out the endocrine system, which might be too complicated for the children. Next is the nervous system. For parts of the brain, they're simplified. They just say top part, lower part, and brainstem, but they do differentiate what each part of the brain does in general. The parts of the nervous system being the brain, spinal cord, and nerves, and children have to label the parts of the system. Your brain, learning and remembering skills, facts, and memories, and how to keep your brain healthy. It includes things like nutrition, wearing a helmet, and even avoiding drugs and alcohol. The next section is on your skeleton. Vocabulary words are bone marrow, ribs, skeleton, skull, and spine. I was happy to see that they correctly named the bone femur instead of thigh bone, where I see in some children's curriculum they call it a thigh bone, but they were more accurate with their vocabulary. And here they have a nice cutout of the inside of the bone. What your bones do, a difference between cartilage and joint, the different types of joints, the function of bone marrow, and here, keeping your bones healthy. So it talks about good posture, incorrect and correct way to lift so you don't hurt your back. And here it goes into diseases, bone fractures, sprains, even bone diseases such as scoliosis and even leukemia. Children here need to know whether this is a simple or a compound fracture. Light Unit 302 shows the muscle systems, digestive system, and nutrition. Muscles versus tendons, skeletal muscles and movement, involuntary versus voluntary muscles, even cardiac muscles. Children have to know whether your skeletal muscle is involuntary or voluntary, running the ball to the ball field, involuntary versus voluntary. Keeping muscles healthy, how muscles stay healthy, muscle damage and disease. It even discusses things like muscular dystrophy and multiple sclerosis. Every unit will have a discovery lesson sprinkled in at some point, and these are usually activity-based lessons. Your mouth, esophagus, and stomach, digestion, digestive juices, esophagus, and saliva. There's a nice image here. Everything is accurate. Your small and large intestines. Children have to be able to label which is the small intestine and which is the large intestine. Your liver and pancreas. The study word is bile. The role of the pancreas. And it also discusses blood sugar. Keeping the digestive system healthy. It discusses diabetes and celiac disease. 5 food groups. I was very happy to see that the food groups are in line with the myplate.gov recommendations. I find a lot of curriculum have not updated their food group recommendations, and this is in line with common standards. Grains, protein, dairy, nutrients for your body. There's a Venn diagram for protein, carbohydrates, and fats, because some of them do overlap. How fat is important for energy. And finally, vitamins. Vitamin A, B vitamins, vitamin C and D, and the different foods that provide those vitamins. Minerals and nutrition facts. Children learn how to read a food label. And then there's a self-check right before a test. This is Light Unit 303. It goes over the circulation system, breathing system, which we know is the pulmonary system, exercise, sleep, clean air, and water. Your heart, arteries, and veins. There is an accurate image of the heart and shows you how the blood travels. How your circulation and kidneys work, how the heart and lungs work together, and the function of the kidneys. And children learn to identify where the kidneys are in the diagram. Your blood and blood cells, what blood is made of. They talk about red blood cells, white blood cells, and watery liquid. They don't mention platelets or plasma. So they keep it very simple. Wounds and heart disease. How a wound heals versus how a bruise heals. Your nose and windpipe. Mucus, vocal cords, smelling and talking. Your lungs, inside your lungs, and your diaphragm. How breathing works. What happens when you breathe. About how the diaphragm. Here they talk about allergies, asthma, and even pneumonia. The discovery lesson is an activity. It looks like it's the activity where the children make a lung with a water bottle. We've done that before and my children enjoyed it. Exercise at work and play. Appetite, coordination, endurance, and posture are the study words. And finally they talk about sleep, how sleep helps your body, and good sleep habits. There's a section on clean air and water, pollution, why we shouldn't use cigarettes, and here's the self-check, which is a review of the whole unit. Light Unit 304 is on your skin, hair, nails, and teeth, keeping your body clean, and diseases and germs. Your skin, they're learning about the dermis, epidermis, and pore, the layers of the skin, function of each layer, learning about keratin and your hair, what a hair follicle is, your nails. And I found this to be very in-depth for 3rd grade, your teeth. They're learning about the different parts of a tooth and the different types of teeth and where they are within the mouth. The baby teeth versus the adult teeth. Things that hurt your skin and teeth, cavities and plaque. How to take care of your skin, how to avoid sunburns, how to avoid cavities, taking care of your skin, keeping your skin clean, when to wash your hands, how to wash your hands, taking care of your hair, keeping your hair clean. It talks about lice, nail care and tooth care, flossing, going to the dentist, and the discovery lesson, children track their health habits for 5 days. How germs cause disease, what germs do, how germs spread. Covering your mouth, washing your hands. Germs, viruses, and bacteria. The difference between a virus and a bacteria. diseases caused by bacteria: strep throat, whooping cough, tetanus, and diseases caused by viruses: colds and flus, chickenpox, rabies. I like that they discuss what a vaccine is without pushing for it, to respect the family's choices. Finally, the last unit, Light Unit 305, Basic Safety, First Aid, Fire Safety, out and about, hiking, weather and water safety, on the move, playground, biking, road safety, and more first aid. So basic safety: knives, scissors, trips, falls, sprays and medicines, and general home safety. First aid for small injuries like cuts and splinters, blisters, bumps, and nosebleeds. Fire safety: kitchen fires, electrical fires, stop, drop, and roll, and a fire escape plan. I like that this worksheet here, front and back, is all fire safety, so we can easily just pull this page out and put it in our portfolio to show that we covered fire safety. First aid for burns and choking. So they have electrical burns, first aid for a choking person. It does not teach children to do the Heimlich maneuver. Instead, it tells them to encourage the person to keep coughing if they're coughing, or to use the palm of your hand if they can't cough, and give him several hard thumps on his back between his shoulder blades and get an adult to help, because children are too small to be able to do the Heimlich maneuver. Hiking safety: poisonous plants, identifying poison ivy, stinging nettle, death cap mushrooms, and pokeberries. First aid for bites and stings, insect stings, tick and spider bites, and snake bites. Safety in pools, ponds, and rivers for the water safety section. Safety in the ocean, even how to get out of a rip current, and boating safety. Hot water safety, cold water safety, discusses things like frostbite and heat stroke. Playground and bike safety, biking hand signals, and of course wearing a helmet. Safety on the road: the traffic signs, railroad crossings, vehicle and sidewalk safety, how to be a safe pedestrian. First aid for more serious injuries like puncture wounds, sprains, fractures, and how to call for help, and what to do to help the person while you're waiting for help. And the discovery lesson is to draw a roadmap. And here's the self-check before the test. Before I close, I wanted to give you a close-up look at what's expected of the children in the quizzes and tests. I'm using 303 as an example. So here, this is the two-sided quiz 1. Circle the name of each organ. Circle the bold words that answer each question, knowing the difference between arteries, pus, veins, bone marrow, lungs, kidney, heart. True and false: your heart is made of skeletal muscles. True or false? For example, circle red or white for each job your red or white blood cells do. So carry oxygen, pick up carbon dioxide, give blood its color, and write a word from the box to complete each sentence. There are 5 words here: cells, heart, lungs, oxygen, and veins, and they're to fill in the blanks. And here, underline the bold word that completes each sentence: special, blood, cells, or germs help wounds and bruises heal. New blood or skin grows under a scab before it falls off. Simple questions. Quiz 2. Write the letter of the parts of the breathing system: air sac, diaphragm, lung, nose, windpipe. There's some true or false questions, such as your windpipe is made of cartilage. True or false? Circle the bold word that answers these questions, knowing the difference between allergies, diaphragm, ribs, vocal cord, air sacs. And then here on the second half of the quiz, underlining the word that completes each sentence and circling the bold words that answer each question. And let's look at the test for 303. Write the letter of each organ in the diaphragm. There's some true or false questions about the heart, the blood cells, the veins. Draw lines to match the parts of the breathing system, underlining the words. Your arteries or kidneys filter waste from your blood, for example. And then there is some multiple choice questions. I hope this look inside helps you decide if this course is right for your family. As a nurse, I love that it's completely up to date and medically accurate. It is a lot of information for 3rd grade, but I think it's appropriate. Having used Abeka Health 3 in the past, I actually find CLE, this course, to be much more approachable for younger students. If you want extension activities, I encourage you to grab the teacher guide when it releases. We use the guide for Science 4. I'll link the video below, and it made the course much more engaging. Thanks for watching and have a blessed day.